Hello. Thank you, Daria. Can you hear me? I think. Perfect. I will discuss this in a rather technical aspect. So I'll tell you how it works from the inside and how Eau de Paris works. Eau de Paris is a 900 employee corporation that gives water to 3 million users. It has a board of directors, the chair of which is Mr. Danert. He was a, he is the chair of he is also mayor of our 19th borough, and he is vice president of the French public Eau Public, which links 100 communities and public works responsible for water provision, but also sanitation. And so we have an objective contract, or contract of objectives rather, was signed, and we put in place an investment plan for 400 million euro on over 5 years until 2026. And so this agreement would meet the challenges of our time, and so we have to look, what are our assets, our weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats? And it also participates to implementing the political plan of the City Hall following the election. And so this meant for a large part of the workers, there are four streams: public service centered on users, industrial excellence, an ecological and territorial commitment, and also an optimized and solidary corporation. What is the role of the workers here? And their representatives, of course. The political plan was not established with our participation. However, Eau de Paris has its part to play. We installed solar panels, so we do geothermal as well. We've given 8 million in subsidies to farmers that they can produce or organic produce. New technologies, for example, in the lab, we have put in place COVID research in used brown waters or dark waters. This was very important in terms of our work in the labs. And so the digitalization of our services, various fountains for water access in the streets, and also the cooling of the city. All of these new activities have give the pace of our work for employees. Some of these workers have had old jobs, old trades. Water has always been given for over 100 years, 24 hours a day, with 2,000 kilometers of pipes. So we have to distribute the water, count it, bill it. And since 2009, this is internalized within Eau de Paris. In order to organize the trades around these technological advances, the Social and Economic System Committee, former workplace committee, for the last 2 years has launched impact studies for the reorganization, which includes all all employees who are impacted by reorganization of these services and the new requirements. For example, we just restructured the various support functions. That's 250 people that are impacted out of the 900. It took 2 years, but it worked well. And this is important to note. And I tell you this because it is not obvious that the representatives of the workers participate. We have an 18-member board of directors. There are two vote-bearing employees. We should have 4 consultative votes. I mean, to have 2 deliberative votes is okay, but is not enough faced with the 18 directors, which is why we would like to have 4 votes on the board of directors. But we can at least explain our expertise in this structure, but this structure is there to rubber stamp or to give the green light to various guidelines, but not to set the guidelines. I hope that was well translated. Uh, and so in Eau de Paris, the representatives of staff have to participate at the first steps of the objectives plan with the city of Paris, and then this is implemented with the investment plan. Beyond Eau de Paris, the world of waterworks, of water provision in France, is not a unique model. It can be either public or private management, and within the water domain, or pardon me, I'm a bit emotional. Workers of waterworks, employees have various laws and conventions, and they are not always present in these various structures that come up with these regulations. For example, the Fédération Professionnelle des Entreprises de l'Eau, the federation which manages collective bargaining, as well as occupational health and safety training and impacts on workers or employees in Paris. But our management, unfortunately, for political reasons, we believe, has not participated to this association, and therefore representatives of the staff cannot also participate. And so we have another association of public structures, and there are no representatives of the workers who are there to explain what is our local expertise on the matter, which is why CGT in Eau de Paris struggles and asks that a school of water trades be created, that we have an institute of workers of water to fight privatization and to exchange our knowledge and to stay closer to our users and to make sure that we protect the resource and make it and to have a public to ensure the sustainability of the public management model, and also so that the workers can explain their expertise. But we are also citizens, we are also users, and the earnings of water are used by the community rather than be given to shareholders. And that is an important difference. In terms of defending the workers in a social model, we also need to keep in mind the environmental concerns. Following COVID, CGT proposed to work less, in France anyway, so 32 hours over 4 days, to hire young people. The public model has also allowed internalizing certain activities. We have electronic meters. This is a 50 million euro investment, and this is something that Veolia had used. And so this is a strong gesture of for the total management of the water aspect. Also, protection against fires. Earlier, I spoke of fountains. There's quite a development in terms of water access in the streets. And so, think of performance as quality of life rather than results. This is something that we would appreciate, because Eau de Paris, in the last few years, lost 70 positions. And so the social aspect is hard to keep in the forefront. We also have some questions. I wouldn't want to go on for too long, but we're also wondering about the elites who govern the structures. In our jurisdiction, they all went to the same schools, they all went to the management school, and they all come from the ENA, the National School of Administration, and therefore they think performance, budget. This is a liberal way of thinking, is a mindset. And for their career and to go into often to go into politics, what we are wondering is how could we make sure that workers and the employees and the various organizations of workers, how can they unite and discuss within all these structures, a bit like my previous speaker, and take decisions that are, for example, have an environmental dimension, and to make the right choices democratically within a democracy. Thank you very much for your attention.